let me turn to Ms. Rupa. What sectors are actually the most impactful for channeling foreign direct investments to ASEAN? And also, what is ESCAP doing to help the countries take advantage of these investments?
Thank you very much. Let me first thank the hosts for giving ESCAP this opportunity to be a partner in this summit. So, if you look at the financing gap as a whole, it's about $4 trillion estimated after the pandemic for sustainable development goals. And within that, of course, there's a whole range of financing, but FDI plays an extremely important role. But I would not rule out the other forms of impact investment because they can also be extremely important when we are looking at small businesses, etc. Now, in terms of what investment is needed, which sectors, I would say climate-related action, health, food, and looking forward, the digital economy. These are the four that come foremost. Now, in terms of half of this financing gap that I just mentioned, most of it would need to go towards climate action. And climate action has two parts, climate adaptation and climate mitigation. Both are important. What would foreign investors need to do? One is, of course, invest in sectors like renewables. They have to invest in improve existing processes and technologies, etc., in existing investments already, make them cleaner and smarter. The investments that are coming in some of the industries, for instance, pharmaceuticals, aviation, textiles, many of these also need to be upgraded and made much more clean and smart. So foreign investment can play a multiple role, not only in terms of fresh investments, but in terms of upgrading the technology and processes in existing investments. So that's one part. If we look at within climate action, which occupies almost half of the SDG financing gap, there what one is finding is actually there's much more in climate mitigation as opposed to climate adaptation. In fact, more projects, much more financing, like $250 billion or so going into climate mitigation related projects, but only around $3 billion, actually less than $3 billion going into climate adaptation. So there needs to be a scaling up of the climate adaptation part of the foreign financing. And again, within this, we need to not only increase the scale, but also the scope across the industries where this foreign financing is coming. So that's one of the main messages I want to highlight where foreign investment can play a role. Now, if we look forward to the digital economy, especially after the pandemic, the kind of opportunities that the digital economy has opened up, including integration of MSMEs, for instance, into the startups and so on, into global as well as regional value chains. This has a lot of scope for foreign investment as well, and not just the traditional sort of FDI. A lot of it could be, private equity and venture capital type of investment. So I would like to broaden the way we look at investments actually in this session as well. Now, where can the investment come? Of course, you can't leverage the opportunities in the digital economy unless you have the digital infrastructure itself. And that requires opening up of the telecom sector, the ICT sector. So there are a lot of other related policy actions that would be needed in countries. But building up the telecom equipment, the infrastructure, the digital public goods, etc., is one part where foreign financing can play a role. The second is, of course, in terms of the businesses, the digital businesses themselves, where financing can come in, because there are huge advantages that can come in terms of upscaling the technology adoption, the digital skilling, new processes, and so on, and helping, as I said, MSMEs get into value chains, the whole digital economy, e-commerce, etc. So there are tremendous, benefits that can come from foreign financing in the digital economy. Another area I would say where we are also looking at is health, because foreign investment in the healthcare sector, especially what we've seen with pandemic preparedness, again, identify what are some of the areas of medical equipment, technologies, pharmaceuticals, etc. This is, again, a priority sector, I would say. How is ESCAP helping? ESCAP, of course, is working with national investment promotion agencies in terms of capacity building in our member states. We're trying to help them promote FDI in the sustainable development sectors. We have sustainable FDI indicators and tools to monitor the impact. And in the ASEAN region, what we are, as our executive secretary has mentioned, what we are trying to do is work at a regional level. So what we are going to start from November of this year till March is to do capacity building and training of the IPAs to promote FDI into sustainable development, and then we will try to come up with a regional action plan for investment, which we hope to take forward in some of these priority areas like renewables, electric vehicles, health sector, some of the areas that we've identified. So we look forward to that. And I think one of the big pluses of ASEAN in this regard is because today investment and trade go together. And so the fact that there's so much intra-regional integration through trade, when we look at the region as a whole and instead of competing with each other, you try to create a value chain, a regional value chain, and you see who has competitive advantage in which parts of the value chain, then you attract investment with a regional sort of action plan, and then trade has to support that investment in terms of the intra-industry movement of goods that would happen across the parts of the value chain. So I think ESCAP can play a very important role in promoting the collaboration, the coordinated approach to investment that was talked about earlier.